Good morning and God bless. Happy Monday. You already know. Let's work. If it keeps rising, it is still ruling. Warning. This transmission exposes spiritual retreats. You thought you were done with that emotion. You thought you buried that loop. You thought the past was in the past. But here it is again. A trigger, a loop, a relapse disguised as routine. If it keeps rising, it still thinks it rules. Side effects may include sudden emotional flashbacks that hijack your day. Don't blame me, even if I started it. It really is your fault. Repeating behaviors you thought you grew past and feeling stuck even while appearing successful. This isn't relapse. This is residue. Welcome to Raw for Epoch 2, day 125, 125. There's a dangerous difference between release and removal. Just because you walked away from it doesn't mean it walked away from you. Just because you stopped feeling it doesn't mean it stopped feeding off you. If it keeps returning, you didn't kill it. You crowned it. Today, we don't just acknowledge what's lingering. We dethrone what's pretending to still rule. Day 125. Made me think of Harlem on the train. 125, the conductor would sometimes. This is 125, 125, 125th Street. Concept overview. Pattern equals power. Today you'll learn why emotional patterns are authority signatures, not just mood swings. I don't know why I feel like I rocked the baby there. How recycled emotion leads to identity regression. Why the crowd will applaud your ghost and leave your growth starving. How remembering who you were might be the very thing keeping you from who you are. And how to break loyalty to an outdated self before it makes decisions on your behalf. I can't get this mic right. All right, let's get into our visual metaphor. Monday grind. Monday grind. Hope you had a blessed weekend. I sure did. Rainy but blessed. The visual metaphor is the ghost that walks in broad daylight. Picture a house you've cleansed. You've prayed over it. You've saged it. You've walked through every room. But every morning, something shifted. I just got goosebumps. A photo's off the wall. A door you closed is open. You feel the chill again. You want to believe you're just imagining it, but deep down you know. The ghost never left. You just got used to it walking past you in the hallway. And now you're too scared to turn around and look back. Oh, I hate that feeling. Here's my personal perspective. This is what I would say is the loop. Something that's big for me. I even talked about it yesterday with my wife on the flat tire, right? I've always been about conflict resolution. Not because I hate confrontation, but because I respect clarity. And what I realized is this. Most people don't avoid problems. They avoid the responsibility of solving them. Hear that? Most people don't avoid problems. How many of us have a plethora of problems? And we keep seeming to have more and more. We avoid the responsibility of solving them. Even when those problems are emotional. So here's the dangerous loop we fall into. We feel something unresolved. We don't process it, just suppress it, right? We suppress it Then it reemerges. And we either react from it or reinforce it. Over time, it becomes identity. You just stop recognizing that it rose again and just assume it's you. So when we don't resolve internally, we seek, resolution externally. But what we reinforce emotionally will always outvote what we wish spiritually. Let me be specific. The moment you fail to emotionally seal something, you open the door for the world to represent it to you. When you think about the word represent, what you represent and what's represented to you is constantly represented to you. So when you don't seal it, when you haven't closed it, the world will represent it to you. That's a loop. You're recreating the same cyclical, emotional, and really physical experience and reality for yourself in a form that feels familiar. That's the key. It feels familiar. So familiar, it begins to feel true. And now you're reacting to life. You're reacting to what was never healed. And this is a theory. Let me show you what the loop looks like when you don't let it rule. What internal resolution looks like when it's sealed before the world tries to test it. Just a few days ago, I was offered an all expenses paid trip to Vegas. My God, I love me some Vegas. Company dime, flight, hotel, all inclusive. The works. It was booked for me. Before I could even respond, the person offering said to me, I already know you're probably going to say no based on who you are right now, but I had to offer it. And he was right. Not because I got some holy objection to Vegas. Once again, I love Vegas. The vibe is crazy. The gambling, man. I like to sit at the blackjack table. Been there many times. The energy is fire. It's indulgent in all the best ways. I mean that truthfully. It's a great place. All life experiences to me offer greatness. But here's the truth. I didn't say no because I'm above it. I said no because I've resolved what that experience represents. I've matured emotionally beyond the version of me that needed the trip to feel free. And even before I would have flexed that, nah, I'm good, energy, sort of like a badge of discipline. Right? I would have been a bit ambiguous. Nah, I'm good. In a way that suggests I'm above it. Very, very clear distinction. I'm not, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not how I flow right now. So I speak very clearly and consciously, not to defend myself, but to define my system. Words are important. How I represent and represent myself, critical. I told him, I truly appreciate the offer. And I do. It means a lot that you would include me in that space. It does. It does. You got to consider that the person is considering you and that this is technically my profession. It's an opportunity to network and grow my space, my reputation, to represent how I'm viewed in my space. And I said to him, today, I'm operating from a principle called presence. Home. My home is not just a place, it's a spiritual gate. And when I remove myself from it physically, emotionally, or energetically, I measure the cost. The trip doesn't align with where I'm driving my life right now. Not because I can't. There's nothing stopping me. Even my wife was like, you sure you don't want to go? It's just because I've decided where I'd rather be. So I respectfully declined. And that's not ego. That's spiritual pre-resolution. That's dominion before temptation arrives. The seduction of life. You want to pretend like you can't be seduced and like temptation doesn't exist. You will be tempted. You got to be able to look temptation in the face. And this temptation, the seduction is this. Do I need to leave what if my wife would have caught a flat without me? These are the things I think about. I'm not missing a soccer game. I'm not missing a day to take my kids to school. I'm not missing a day to pack lunches, to make my bed. These are big to me. The possibility to break free, not even break free, but extend outside of that is a risk to me missing something that I otherwise wouldn't have missed. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's too big for me. The moment is too big to miss. I refuse to miss any more moments, respectfully. That is dominion before temptation arrives. So when temptation says, hey, look what I got for you. Oh, that's beautiful. I can already see it. That's the power of visualization. When he was like, yo, Jeff, I got an all expenses paid trip for Vegas. Before he got to the next word, I already was at Vegas. I already spent the week there. I already indulged in everything Vegas offers. And then before he finished, I was like, yep, not what I want to do. The dominion before temptation arrives. That's refusing to outsource your identity to context. And here's the beauty. When you get ahead of the loop, you no longer need explanation because your life becomes the proof. This is, I think, I intentionally went this way with this story to explain sort of the loop, temptation, because we get sort of inundated with, I think, complaining, the poverty-derived, fear-derived consciousness. And yes, that loops. That loops. But there's also a reality that when you decide who you are, the world will represent itself to you in a way where you need to explain less, the way this gentleman knew before he even offered. But it was kind of like he had to represent and represent himself in a way that, yo, this is my job. I'm in sales. We've done business together. You've paid, it's not my dime, but I've signed a lot of contracts that have given him money. So it's my job to offer you a kickback. And then it's my responsibility to either accept or decline. But pivoting into a different set of virtuousness. It's not that I'm more or less virtuous today. It's just that my virtues point me back home. When my virtuousness pointed me towards, I got to grow my career. I need to network. I need to expand. See, that's why I don't want to push this off as like this is the devil in disguise. It's not. You might need to take the trip to Vegas. There was a point in my time where I had to take the trip to Vegas. And it did wonders for my career. It broke some of the things at home. If for no other reason than I'm not present here. And at some juncture, you represent yourself over and over and over in certain situations. You expose yourself at different levels, whether it's a business you're trying to get off the ground, and you have to understand where you're at in the process. A relationship, a marriage, raising children, networking in varying ways for promotions, for whatever it is. There's so many different things that you could be representing over and over and over and representing in order to see something. You got to be able to see where you're at. What level of sacrifice are you willing to make? And then you balance it. But the biggest thing, too, is when you represent and continually represent yourself over and over and over in a specific way, I keep saying it, the world will respond to you in the way that you present yourself. And that's all through remembrance. I remember who I am at all times. I wrote something down on my phone that I want to turn into something. Let me say it the way I wrote it down. The best way to live is to always remember who you are. That's sort of what we've been going over for the course of the week here. or was it? Well, it might be technically a new week, but over the last week, as I am always remembering who I am, it becomes easier to explain where I'm at. It becomes easier to deflect. It becomes easier to block. It becomes easier to tackle. It becomes easier to move. No blocks, no barriers, no barricades, no limits, no restrictions. Let's get into the Black Book today. Let's check the chat. Where you at, chat? 4:15 on a Monday. You mad it's Monday? What's wrong with you? You mad it's Monday? Okay. Here's the system teaching for today. The reign of residue. Consciousness reactivates unresolved emotion. If it keeps rising, the system still thinks it's alive. Memory is not just storage, it's instruction. So how I responded, how you respond regularly becomes like religion to you. And I was just reading something about the construct of the brain and how there's you think of it like this. And the author explained it this way. The instinctive nature, and then, man, the word is eluding me, but you give an animal the ability to break from its root, its home, how it was nurtured and raised, right? We all break free and we go out into the world to brave the world. And the animal goes out and is crossing over a hill, a mountain, or whatever. And I think he used a monkey. The monkey hears something or sees something, and let's just say it's another monkey. At that moment, there's so many things it has to understand and process. Is this a threat? Is it a female? Is it someone I know? Is it someone I don't know? Right? Do I fight? Do I flee? My point is, all of these things happen in micro fractures of like it happens so fast you don't realize it's happening. So there's this instinctive nature that comes with trying to resolve what is occurring to me. Is it a risk? And now, because we're now, you have to understand also and appreciate that the risks that we see today are a lot less around survival and this was the point. We're not really at threat physically. Our lives are not in danger. So how do we assess risk? It's usually the dollar, right? If this is going to make me rich, is it going to make me more poor than I already am? And when you get into situations and you don't resolve scenarios that keep you broke-minded, that keep you poverty-driven, that create the environment and represent it for you over and over and over, the system still thinks it's alive. So you're wondering, why am I still broke? Because you're responding broke over and over and over. And your memory is towards brokenness. So the instruction for your consciousness is stay broke. This is massively like mathematical. Is that a word? But you understand, 1 + 1 = 2 in this way. So if you're always giving yourself memory after 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, and you're repeating that 1 over and over and over and over, and it's towards broke, 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 broke. You got mad brokenness in your memory. So consciousness is just boom. That's the instruction. That's also big. You haven't, I don't know if I've driven this home enough yet. It's conflict. You're not resolving the conflict, or your resolve for the conflict is to leave yourself in a conflicted state. So you keep getting represented conflict over and over and over. You're like, why does this keep happening to me? It's not some mystical experience. The world is not really against you. It's representing what you already represent. Okay. You don't believe me? Keep seeing what you get presented over and over and over. As you thinketh, you will proveth. Unsealed patterns are active authority. You don't need to worship a wound for it to rule you. Repetition is submission. I think it was Eric Thomas. Man, I love me some Eric Thomas. Repetition deepens the impression. Right? It's like tying your shoe. It used to be real hard. You probably don't remember. Riding a bike was real hard. And all of a sudden, it's just you tie your shoe and you ride the bike. You repeat behaviors in that way. You probably are not conscious of it. You know how I know you're not conscious of it? Why would you consciously repeat them if they're affecting you? Something needs resolve in you. You need to close the loop. Repattern yourself. Repetition is submission. Oh, damn. Think about that. The spirit uses recurrence as alarm. What returns is what you've left unconfronted. What resists is what you've secretly re-accepted. Yo. Yo. Some of us are so conflicted and perceptually confrontational in a way that removes and allows ourselves to not confront the reality of where we're at. And there's a pattern of, man, creating something. I talked about digging the hole yesterday, that we yearn for this level of success, that we stop midway. We create scenarios where we allow ourselves to quit because we can't get like past the middle ground. I feel like a month ago, I talked about there's an opening and a close. There's a morning and an evening, and the middle is where everything is at. And we're so eager when we wake up another day, maybe, possibly. We rush to sort of unwind and decompress, to start all over again, and we miss everything in the middle. And you're resisting the conflict that needs to be resolved in order for you to get over the middle. And when you do that and you quit and you give yourself an excuse and you stop, you secretly re-accept the terms and conditions. Imagine life as a we talk about the dynamic nature of life. It's not static. Life is always rewriting you a contract. There's terms and conditions. There's a SOW, S-O-W, statement of work. There's professional services. You subscribed to a model of life, and life is like, all right, I'll just keep giving you what you signed up for. These are the terms and conditions. These are my SLAs, service level agreements, based on how you behave and how you act in your identity. God, universe, and everything that is part of the reality you see is obligated to return it to you. But when you see something constantly coming back to you, these patterns that you don't want, they're unconfronted and you've secretly re-accepted them. It's crazy. All patterns must be replaced, not buried. There's no letting go. There is only overriding. Only new action dethrones old emotions. It is massively emotional. We talk about the covenant creation loop. The easiest way to override emotion is to have a new emotion. The easiest way to recreate is to feel differently. It's like the movie scene where somebody gets tired of it. I'm tired of it. Boom. And then, cue the beautiful music and you get all excited. You need new emotion. And because we have already created and everything's being represented, usually you got to make an act. You got to work the covenant. So it's you feel it, you think it, you act it. We talk about this every day. You might have to act it in order to think it, to feel it. Because of everything that is conflicted in you, that hasn't been resolved, representing itself back to you, old emotion, you got to create new emotion. Just go do something. Residue reigns through silence. If you don't speak it, it speaks for you. If you don't move, it moves you. There's consequences. Let's check the chat before we get into the consequences. Where you at, chat? Consequences of inaction. You'll normalize dysfunction that feels familiar. You'll recycle wounds in new relationships and call it discernment. It's the same thing where you're starting, you're trying to brand something as it being new. You're just rebranding. You're taking old wounds and you're recycling them and finding new ways and new relationships to do it. And relationships are bigger than just people. It's process. We're talking about consequences. You'll teach your soul to expect sabotage. Listen to this one. You'll keep the throne warm for the same ghost you claim to hate. Oh, how many of you are in the same place at the same time doing the same thing you said you would never do again? I hate it. I repeat it. I hate it. I still be it. And worst of all, you'll think this is just how you are and forget you were once something else entirely. Did that hurt? That hurt me to say it. Let's get into the how-to. Those were the consequences. This is how you dethrone the repeat. Log the loop. Be honest. What keeps returning emotionally? Don't spiritualize it. Name it. Then you want to locate the breach. When did you make peace with that pattern? Yo, I keep saying it. There's peace in disruption, in conflict, in pain, in stress, in overwhelm, in brokenness. Oh, this is just the way it's supposed to be. You made peace with it. You are content with your conflict. When did you make peace with the pattern? What moment did you sit down instead of evicting it? Then you want to move with finality. One action, not a post, not a prayer, a change the old you would not make. Something drastic, even something extremely small. Push yourself out of bed tomorrow. Let's get into our phone tap. ARR, audit, remix, re-record, the creation covenant loop. You got the call. Now move like it is recorded. We start with an audit. Our memory identity, the emotional identity. What pattern still shows up? Ask yourself that. And then ask, what throne still has your name on it? What throne still has your name on it? The pain, the despair, the fear, the brokenness, the poverty, the on and on and on. That's your throne. We're all sitting on a throne. We're all the gods of our own lives, whether you accept it or not. It is your will and it is free to you, whether you accept it or not. It is your fault, whether you agree or not. And if you don't, as I always say, you can't help yourself, and neither can I. Then you want to hit it with the remix, thought identity. Override the ghost logic. If it still rises, it's still ruling. If I don't rewire, I will recycle. Polarities. I can offer you that again and again and again and again and again. Whatever rises, the other end of that frequency, hate is the protector of love, is the offering. If it is fear-derived, negative in connotation, you just need to find the positive, like a battery, right? A battery has a positive and a negative in order for it to give you life. So if you don't rewire the negative side, you will never find the positive side. If you keep going north when you should be going south, east when you could be going, not even should, when you could be going west, well then, you got to rewire it. Otherwise, you will recycle it, and you will do so sort of against your own will because you will just continue to will yourself in that same direction because you got to will yourself anyway. Do you not get that yet? I don't know if I've made that abundantly clear or I'm losing my mind in ways I can't even fathom or articulate. What do you expect to happen if you keep doing the same things over and over and over? What haven't you resolved? Why do you present a problem for your problem? Why are you conflicted in the same conflict? What is your solution? And The solution is madness of expecting something different when you're doing the same thing. Then you want to re-record. Action identity. Do the one thing the loop fears. Speak it, decline it, delete it, own it, replace it, move, 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 move. You are not just the product of what you have survived. You are the author of what you decided to seal. What rises repeatedly isn't just emotion, it is occupation. If it keeps returning, it still believes it owns you. Today, become the eviction notice. You got the call, now move like it's recorded. Own it or be owned by it. You either run the system or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.